Good morning, everybody. It's Chris from Serene Education with the 4 major news update for the 14th of March 2013. Okay, just going to be looking at the 4 majors this morning, starting with the euro against US dollar. Let's have a look and see what happened last week. Okay, you can see quite clearly moving into the 13,300, a weekly and monthly Fib retracement area here at the 1300 mark. Quite clearly saw price last week very hesitant as we headed into it, and that is going to reflect on our daily chart. So we bring up the daily, you can quite clearly see price has been falling back. The major trend to the upside over here, quite clearly seeing the July lows going up towards the February highs or January highs, and you can see prices failed at 13,600, bearish engulfing candle here when price was looking for support, and price now reverted to the downside and has been moving towards these Fib areas to the downside, as well as the major fibs. So these black lines are my weekly and monthly fibs, and these red ones are my daily fibs. You can quite clearly see that price, as you can speak, has spent a lot of time consolidating at 13,300 price support and resistance level. And yesterday's candle breaking lower, ideally not trading all the way down to the downside, pulling back sharply yesterday or late last night. However, on the Asian session, you can see price has been tentatively trading below 1300. So as long as it maintains below 1300, then ultimately we would like to see price finding resistance now intraday, and then looking to fall further. As you can see, that price intermediately since February has been forming lower swings, which dictates that price is falling. So on our 4-hour chart, you want to see that. Okay, you can see I can pan right out now to February. You can see those highs way back here, the early start of February, and you can see that price has been moving to the downside, swing lows along the way. The institution moving average, the green line, very much still above price, as well as near term. You can see the breakout yesterday and the consolidation. 5 o'clock this morning GMT, we had a break lower. However, you can see prices pulling back quite sharply. A lot of speculative trading this morning at the open on the European session. As long as it maintains all below 1300 throughout the day, we'd like to see a nice movement to the downside going in towards the end of this week, so that for the foreseeable, for the new week next week, we can actually gauge that we should be looking for further sentiment to the downside. And then we could look at those lows on our daily as targets. Back here roughly around the 12,900 would be one where the institution is right now, but ultimately back below the major one would be our next price support and resistance level around the 12,750, 12,700 mark would be our next target once we've broken this institution moving average. On to sterling, let's have a look at this particular one, the weekly, just to gauge quickly what's been happening. Past couple of weeks, price has been broke through that magical, very strong support area at 15,300. You can quite clearly see as I zoom out of my weekly chart, you can see that price found support through August, September of 2010, the start of the end of December 2011 or 2010, going into the new year, and then September, October of 2011, start of 12 through mid 12. You can see quite clearly price bouncing at this 15,300 mark. And near term, you can see price just falling straight through that, so very, very negative indeed. Price pulled back for part of that week, and then we saw further negativity, and it was going to be testing further Fib areas. You can see quite clearly we had a slight consolidation through the earlier parts of March, April of 2010. So you can see that's at 14,8,500 as we speak, and you can see on the weekly we've seen slight consolidation this week. If I go to my daily, I've plotted all those lines on, and you can quite clearly see that 14,8,500 mark is here. A lot of indecision candles, and clearly you can see price over the past couple of days very indecisive, but nonetheless finding consolidation at this 1485, which happens to be our long-term support and resistance level. So everything's still looking negative. Our daily CTC strategy template still very negative across the board, so telling us the sentiment still looking negative. The most important thing is all the moving averages above price, including the institution. So we should be looking for further shorting opportunities, and you can quite clearly see that the trend recently has dropped off quite sharply, very aggressive after this breakout. So look to see if price can actually break below this 14,8,500. The longer we see consolidation here, the more likely is we can see price pulling back. If it pulls back, we could look to roughly around the 1500 or 1505. This is the weekly Fib areas. The 1505 is the Fib projection, the weekly Fib projection from the current highs we saw way up in January of this year. There you go, you can see it, nice little evening star formation at a major support and resistance level. Price crashed to the downside, so we did a Fib projection from the highs to this consolidation here, back to this consolidation high, and then we saw price extended here around the 1505, just short of the 1500 mark, as the 100% extension of the initial move here. So now we saw, as long as price maintains below all of this, then we should see price heading towards that 1485 soon and breaking it. On the 4-hour chart, you can see that 1485 is clearly there on my chart, so I know exactly what price is doing, where it's trading to. You can see a lot of wickiness, a lot of hammers, and you can see quite clearly near-term prices pulled back towards the 50-period moving average. It needs to get above the 50, but you can see there's a lot of hesitation. The last time we saw price consolidating, it was just under the 1500 here. You can quite clearly see a lot of support for price, and you can see yesterday in particular at 1 o'clock GMT, price actually tested that area and fell back. So it's under a very strong resistance. You can see the 4-hour chart, the intermediate trend is very negative. So, and it needs to be, if this is to be positive long term, it needs to be trading above the institution. So it's got a lot of hard work to do in order to get through all this consolidation. So as long as it maintains below 1500, then ultimately we should be looking for price to roll over and then to be testing or heading back towards the 148500 as our first target, then ultimately back down towards those levels to the downside on our weekly and monthly chart. Next up, US dollar Swiss franc. Let's have a look at the weekly. Very strong through the period. Excuse all the lines on here, but these are my fib extension lines that I've been drawing. If I take these ones off over here, let's have a look. So the weekly lines, very much all-time high here. Near term, you can see quite clearly price has been pushing higher, and near term you can see that the 1000 was the all-time high, but price recently been falling back and consolidating. You can see quite clearly just recently price has actually broken above these fib extension levels. You can see this consolidation range here and getting above it. Nice bullish engulfing week last week. Price pulling back, however, this week, but showing a bit of momentum to the upside, and you can quite clearly see. So end of last week, moving into this week, you can see quite clearly price falling and finding support above the institution, and now we had an indecision, so we want a decisive bullish candle to tell us yes, the price is happy above it. Sure enough, it's taken us above that area now, and now you can see that the momentum intraday this morning on the Asian session going into the European session is looking quite good for the US dollar against the Swiss franc. So intraday we should be looking for price to maintain above 950. There we go, you can see my intraday support, and now we would like to see price moving higher. So everything on this time frame is telling us we should be looking for a buying setup. Everything's looking fantastic. As long as it can break this near-term consolidation here at 953, close higher, then we should be looking upside favorite towards the institution moving average on our weekly. You can see quite clearly that's roughly around the 960 on our daily. So there's a nice target to the upside. So back into our daily, you can see the nice bullish engulfing candle that's happening on the hourly now. Get above these wicks on a nice hourly close. And then I've got everything telling me I should be looking for long. So look to the upside for the US dollar Swiss franc intraday. Last pair of the day, the US dollar Japanese yen. A lot of positive sentiment for the US dollar against the yen. Since August of last year in particular, a lot of movement to the upside. And you can see my weekly fib projection levels here quite clearly. It's on a month, so you can see quite clearly looking way back to 2009 break support and resistance at 87. Finding support, moving higher towards the next level here at 9400, consolidating as we headed into that area there. We had a pullback and then a lot of buying sentiment through the last month, taking us above 94. So looking all good as long as it shows us on our daily we're above the 9400 here. There we go. My black line is my 94 long-term, weekly, and monthly support and resistance. It's trading above it. We're seeing a slight consolidation. As long as the consolidation stays above the 9550, which is its consolidative range, the support range, then we should be looking for a nice bullish engulfing candle. A lot of indecision candles here, spinning tops and dojis. We don't trade those. We'd like to see a nice bullish engulfing candle, confirmation signal. So on our 4-hour, we want to see that buying sentiment coming through. You can quite clearly see the past couple of hours on the Asian session has been quite positive. A nice little hammer here. Got to see it staying above that 95.50 mark, which is quite clearly doing. Get above this consolidative range that we've seen here at 96.10. And then we should be looking near term intraday towards at 96.70, and above that we should see price moving towards that all important near term. We're going to look at our weekly chart, which is the 100 mark. So we know straight away, get above this, get a nice close above the hourly, head towards near term 96.70 mark, get above that. Then for the foreseeable future we should be looking at that target at 100%. So not 100%, 100 to mark off the US dollar rally against the yen. So looking really, really good for the US dollar. Excuse me. Recently, long may continue as long as all the setup gives us all the indications that it's going to go further to the upside. Look for entry levels. Look at your money management. Have a look and tell you what the tempers are telling you. You can quite clearly see here on my hourly, I've still got a red arrow, red candle. However, my histogram on our side is starting to give me more of a bullish outlook. So I've got to wait for this hourly close. If it closes very bullish above this current consolidation area here at 96.10, then look to see if price can actually take me higher towards this 96.70. Get above 96.70, then I should be looking long term to the upside towards that 100% mark. That's it for today, guys. I hope you have a fantastic trading day. Please follow the rules of the template and back it up. Just make sure you're looking at the news out there to see what's actually going to, if it's actually going to make a difference to price action. A lot of speculation trading happens when we get a lot of news announcements. So it's important that we understand what these news announcements are and when they're going to be happening, and are they going to be reflecting price action change or momentum sentiment within our trading day. So very, very important. Once you've done all that, back it up with sound money management and then just pull the trigger. Okay, so very, very important. Follow the rules. Very, very important. Other than that, have a good one, and I'll see you first thing tomorrow morning. Until then, trade serenely.